Hello and welcome to Meditations with Abigail Rose Gazda.
This is something that has come up for me, which I think comes up for a lot of people, and I really want to speak into it. Imposter syndrome, or sometimes what I call it, like being a con, being a fraud, being fraudulent, or being a poser. So if like any of those ring true for you, this is for you. I have always had these desires or passions, or I would see something and like it. Let's say a great example is like being a surfer chick, right? From high school, we used to go out to California every couple of years. My grandfather lives out there. And so when we would go, I would meet these Southern California girls, like my aunts and then their friends, or whoever at the beach, or you're walking around, especially like Southern California, where I am in San Clemente or San Diego, even LA. You go to Venice, you see the lifestyle that you see depicted in movies. It's like walking around in a movie. And me being from Indiana, and I would go there and it really resonated with me. Like I wanted to surf and I wanted to live in my bathing suit or with no shoes on or be walking on the beach all day. And so going there made me feel like I was stepping into something that I didn't belong to, or that I wasn't a part of. And we may have felt like that in certain friend groups. Maybe we feel like that in our family sometimes, or, whatever, wherever, when you're starting a new career, right? Like walking in as I became a teacher. So you walk into the school system for the first time and you're entering something. So you don't feel a part of it yet all the time. But at the same time, there's a part of you in you. I remember specifically in the book writing industry and in the publishing industry, always feeling like a newbie, always feeling like I was trying to make my way in instead of being actually in. Even 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 books into writing and being a writer and publishing, I still felt like I was trying to make my way in. And sometimes I can still feel that way. And one of my coaches, because yes, coaches have coaches, one of my coaches said, how many books is it going to take for you to feel like an author? Or how many books is it going to take for you to feel valid? And the last time I was in California, I went, it was the water's still chilly. You got to wear a wetsuit in the California Pacific. And so I grabbed my wetsuit, which I own. I grabbed my wetsuit. I grabbed my 9-foot longboard and I flip it up under my arm, and I'm walking to the car, and I know it needs to be re-waxed, and I know which wax to get, and I got to peel it off. Like there's things that I was like, I'm a surfer chick. Like I'm not a wannabe surfer chick. I don't wish I were a surfer chick. Like I know how to surf, and I know the like different things about surfing, right? I could say that I always felt like a basketball player, right? Because I've been raised doing that. So like anyone who came onto the court was coming onto my court. But when I go into the water, I'm going into other people's water, kind of thing. And so you are, if you're starting a business, if you're starting a dream, if you're trying something new, I'm learning Spanish right now. And guess what? I don't feel like a part of the Spanish culture. I went to Costa Rica and I was like, hey, ¿dónde está el baño? Like, I don't know where the fuck I'm going or what the fuck I'm saying or what the fuck you're saying, right? So that was such an interesting dynamic, because if you aren't willing to be new and messy and feel like an imposter, or feel like you're uncomfortable, or you're not part of the in crowd, then you're never going to cross the threshold to feel like you are, like whatever that means for you, right? And this is a level of permission, acceptance. You're allowed to have your desires. You're allowed to have new passions. Just because it wasn't your passion growing up or before, or that's never been introduced to you. There's been so many things in my life that I've been introduced to crosses over into your identity. You're reshaping your identity. And just because you're new at it or it's new to you doesn't mean you're not going to be great at it. And it's a major part of who you're becoming. My spiritual gifts, my channeling, light language, healing, energy work, all of that, that's never been a part of my history in this physical lifetime. That's not, it's just not been there, the training, the nurturing. And so when I discovered some of these things, or when these things started to come to me internally and awaken in me, I was like, who is this? Who am I? Well, I went through major identity crises trying to figure these pieces out and walk this path. And yes, I would again try to observe others, but also it's a lot of like listening within, because I have that guidance. You have the guidance towards things that you are passionate about, that you will be gifted at, that may become your new career, that may become your new favorite hobby. And so don't be closed off just because you feel like an imposter, or you feel like the new kid on the block, or you don't know what you're doing. That's how it starts, especially if you're like committed to a great life. Think about your greatest life. Aren't there things that aren't in your current life that are a part of your dream life? Like, when do those enter? When do you start those? How would they come into your life if you don't let them into your life, right? So I just really wanted to come to say that, because again, how many books do you need to write to feel like an author? How many surfboards do you need to own to feel like a surfer? How many vans do you need to have to be a van lifer, right? And so whatever that question is for you, take a look, because my guess is it simply has to do with you giving yourself permission to feel like you want to feel, and have what you want to have, and be who you want to be. It's all about permission and letting that happen, and then living it and celebrating it, showing it up and talking about it and having fun. So have a lot of fun. I know I am.